Welcome to the Steve Ames Show with guitarist Sandy Renda, pianist Mike Iannuzzi, and my special guests, entertainer Len Carrie and author Andy MELE. And now, on with the show. I don't believe in fretting and grieving. Why mess around with strife? I was never cut out to step and strut out. Give me the simple life. Some find it pleasant, dining on pheasant. Those things roll off my knife. Just serve me tomatoes and mashed potatoes. Give me the simple life. A cottage small is all I'm after, not one that's spacious and wide. A house that rings with joy and laughter, and the ones you love inside. Some like the high road, I like the low road, free from the care and strife. Sounds corny and seedy, but yes indeedy, give me the simple life. A cottage small is all I'm after, not one that's spacious and wide. A house that rings with joy and laughter, and the ones you love inside. Some like the high road, I like the low road, free from the care and strife. Sounds corny and seedy, but yes indeedy, give me the simple life. Thank you. Give Me the Simple Life, written by Harry Ruby and Rue Bloom. And now here are the two birthday boys. Celebrating his birthday on May 12th, our guitarist, Sandy Renda. And celebrating his birthday on May 30th, our pianist, Mike Iannuzzi. Here's a song I haven't done in a long time, entitled, I Guess I'll Get the Papers. I guess I'll get the papers and go home, like I've been doing ever since we've been apart. I get some consolation when I read of someone else's lonely heart. I wonder if you get the papers too, and if you feel as melancholy as I do. Until you're in my arms again, never more to roam. I guess I'll get the papers and go home. I guess I'll get the papers and go home, like I've been doing ever since we've been apart. I get some consolation when I read of someone else's lonely heart. I wonder if you get the papers too, and if you feel as melancholy as I do. Until you're in my arms again, never more to roam. I guess I'll get the papers and go home. Oh yes, I guess I'll get the papers and go home. Happy birthday, Sandy Renda. Happy birthday, Mike Iannuzzi. And what's on the musical menu tonight for the two birthday boys?
I Love Paris in the Springtime, written by Cole Porter, and we'll give you our own little jazz feel.
Very nice. Let's hear it for Sandy and Mike. On tonight's show, we proudly present part 2 of my recent interview with entertainer Len Carrie and author Andy MELE. But first, let's hear Len sing one of his favorite numbers. Take it away, Len Carrie.
Well, I'm just a gigolo everywhere I go. People know the part I'm playing. Paid for every dance, buying each romance. Oh, what they're saying. There will come a day you'll fade away. Ziggy-diggy-dong. And what will they say about me? When the end comes, I know they'll say just a gigolo. And life goes on without me. 'Cause I'm just a gigolo, and everywhere I go, people know the part I'm playing. Paid for every dance, buying each romance. Oh, what they're saying. There will come a day, and you will fade away. Ziggy-diggy-dee. And what will they say about me? When the end comes, I know they'll say just a gigolo. Life goes on without me, 'cause I ain't got nobody. Yeah, and nobody cares for me. I'm so sad and lonely, oh, sad and lonely, sad and lonely, oh. And want some sweet mama come and take a chance with me, 'cause I'm so bad. And I'll sing sweet love song, honey, all the time. If you want to be, and you want to be, my mine. Oh, I ain't got nobody, no one, nobody, no one, no stars at them all, garnish, over there, nobody cares for me. Thank you. Your applause is a tribute to your intelligence.
Anyway, Len, your memory is wonderful.
Yeah.
Your vitality is there. You still love performing.
Yeah,
And
oh boy.
you've got a great memory. That's a marvelous thing.
Right. What'd you say your first name was?
And you love performing. You still love performing.
Well, we can blame that on Andy. He wants me to do all these things. He had me making speeches at the Rotary Club and senior citizen centers. Making speeches now, not even singing.
That's very good.
I'd go and do 10 minutes. He tries and says, okay, that's enough, because once I get wound up, in fact, if you don't cut me off here, we'll be here till next week.
Well, we're doing a two-parter. That's why we're enjoying this so much. Now, you've worked as a band leader, as a musician. What were the first instruments that you played?
Oh, I studied, well, when I was 6 years old, my mother and father bought me a toy accordion for Christmas. And I played the hell out of that thing from when I was 6 until I was 9. When I was 9, my father took me to see a guy named Harry Kaplan, who owned a camera store on Richmond Avenue, Staten Island. He played the accordion, a half-fast accordion player. And he says, you should give this kid lessons. I was playing a toy accordion. He says, you should give this kid lessons. Listen, he says, he called my father. I'm going to have Mr. Salvatore Avalese come down from Yonkers every Tuesday. He had a group of kids, all accordion players. They were going to teach them every Tuesday. So I studied the accordion from when I was 9 until I was 15, when I went to see Glenn Miller and his band at the Paramount Theater. And when I heard the Glenn Miller band, I fell in love with them. And I made up my mind that I had to play with this band, okay? But they didn't have an accordion player.
Right.
So now what do? I looked the band over and I says, let's see, who's the oldest looking guy in the band? The drummer. So I said, I'll play the drums. By the time I learned how, that guy will be too old and I'll take his place. I went home. I was only 15 years old. Told my father, Dad, I don't want to play the accordion anymore. I'm going to be a drummer. What? After spending, and my father worked hard to give me accordion lessons and buy an accordion. They cost $1,200 in those days.
Right.
In the 30s, that was a lot of money.
But then you continued playing the drums throughout your band career.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I'd switch to the drums. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you admire drummers like Buddy Rich.
Yeah. Buddy
Right.
Rich and I became very good friends.
Talking
Yeah.
about friends, you've had a lot of friends in show business, and one of your closest friends was Billy Barty.
Billy Barty was definitely one of my closest friends. We moved. I told you we roomed together, like, you know.
During the Spike Jones
During the
television
Spike
shows.
Jones things,
But
yeah.
you continued to see Billy Barty after the Spike Jones years?
He came to New York to do the Puffin Stuff show at Madison Square Garden, and I had the nightclub then. And I called him up, and I said, Billy, what time do you get through? I'll send a car for you. And I brought him down to my nightclub, because my last show went on like at 2:30 in the morning, like, you know. And I brought him up on stage. We did a show that night.
That must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now tell us about the time you met Frank Sinatra.
Oh, Sinatra. Well, when we were on a Spike Jones show, we were going to do a spooktacular, all the boogeymen. Spike played Dracula. We had Vampira. Cinderella. It was a story about Cinderella. Her fairy godfather was going to be the Frankenstein monster, who was me. Billy Barty was dressed as the Purple People Eater. All I did was growl, you know. She'd say, "Who are you?" And I went, "Rrrr," you know, and she said, "What did he say?" And Billy Barty would say, "He said, do you want to go to the ball?" He was translating for me, see. So that's how we did this thing. Then, while she was going from Cinderella into Vampira, there was a stage wait. So they decided I was going to sing Witchcraft, and I was going to mouth Frank Sinatra's
Recording. Right, Frank Sinatra's voice.
So now Dino and Frank had a club together, a restaurant in Beverly Hills called Dino's. His hangout was Jilly's in New York and Dino's in L.A.
Right.
So now Spike and his wife were going to meet him to ask him if they could get permission to mouth his record, you know. And they asked me if I wanted to go along. So that's how come I had dinner with Spike, with Frank Sinatra.
So that's how you met Frank Sinatra.
That's how I met him.
He didn't tell you when he did the thing on the TV and he did the Sinatra record. He spoke to his mother on the phone after, and she said, "Your voice is getting better."
Yeah. And
She didn't realize that was Sinatra's record. She thought that was you.
I told my mother, no, that was Frank Sinatra singing. She said, I didn't see him on the show.
Now, didn't you meet Frank Sinatra many years later?
Oh, yeah, I met him twice after that, okay? Because after a while, when I got out of show business for a while, I started driving a limousine, all right? And one night we were Steve Wynn had sold the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City, and Steve Wynn was losing his eyesight, so they did a thing for the blind at the Waldorf Astoria. And so they hired some of our limousines to pick up people as coming out of that dinner to go wherever they wanted to go. So who do you think got in my car?
Frank Sinatra.
And Steve Wynn's wife and Lionel Richie. So I had learned from driving down to Atlantic City from the doorman at the Golden Nugget at the time, Steve Wynn had it. His name was Dynamite, a black guy. And he knew everything, he knew everybody, and he knew how much money they tipped. Well, you know, they used to open the door for him. And he'd say, you know, blah, 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 blah. He's old blue eyes, gives everybody a C note. Everybody he meets. So I was driving the limo, and he gets in the car, and Lionel Richie's bodyguard sat up front with me. He says, "You see who you got in the back seat?" So I looked in the mirror, and I saw Frank, and I said, "Do you see who's sitting next?" So I knew I was good for a C-note.
Right.
Like, you know? So Steve Wynn's wife says, "Is this one of our cars?" Because they had all gold limousines, Golden Nugget. Ours were blue and silver. I said, "Yeah, we're picking up the overages, like, you know, we're working for your company, okay." So I drove him only 10 blocks away to a nightclub. And he gave me a $100 bill. I knew you were gonna.
But you didn't remind him of
now
the
when
previous...
he was at Jilly's one night,
Right.
when I worked at the Hawaii Kai in the lounge, that's how I met Sam Makia before I bought the nightclub. And we went to Jilly's. We used to go to Jilly's every night because at the restaurant, the Hawaii Kai got done early, and Jilly's was open till 4, and it was only around the corner on 52nd Street. So we went there, and we were like steady customers. Whenever Frank was there was a line to try and get in. So we went there, and we knew the doorman. He said, Lenny, he says, go down the alley to the kitchen and go in the kitchen way. So we went in, and Frank, when he goes to leave, he walks down the bar toward the front door, and he shakes hands with everybody, like, you know. And when he got to me, he shook hands, he says, how are you? And he says, you look familiar. I said, we had dinner together. And then I explained to him about the record thing with the Spike Jones thing, and then he remembered me, like, you know.
So he did remember you.
Oh, yeah, he did remember me, yeah.
Very good. Now
He didn't give me a C note that
No,
night.
not that time.
not that
Now
night.
tell us just more about the book, Andy, and where people can get the book. I read the book and I recommend it. It's a great show business book, not only about Len Carrie's life, but it's also about the nightclub business.
Well, Andy's a good writer.
He's
you
a
know.
very good writer.
The-
Tell us where we can get the book, where folks who can...
Well, it's all over the internet. It's on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and whatever else they have.
Give the title
It's,
again.
It's called Before the Echoes Fade, and the subtitle is An Entertainer's Life in the Shadow of Fame. That implies, as you said, all of these people that came through Lenny's life.
I never became famous. The most famous I got was with Spike Jones, but I never became famous. I never made it big.
But you've been a working
I should be big.
professional.
I should be big though, because in 1956, when we were really making noise with my quintet, we did the Godfrey Show. We did all kinds of things. And right after the Godfrey Show, Decca Records called me for a dual recording, and Leonard Joy was my A&R man. He says, Len, you should do this tune. And the tune he gave me, I should have done. I said, no, I really didn't like it. I wound up doing a Bo Diddley song called Diddley Diddley Babe. And you know the song that I turned down?
No, which one?
He rocks in the treetops all the night long. They're still singing it today. Rockin' Robin.
It's a classic.
Rockin'
And
Robin's a
I
great
give this
song.
advice to anybody that's in the recording business. Pay close attention to your A&R man, because they know what you should be recording, okay?
Well, just tell us quickly about your appearances on the Arthur Godfrey TV
The
show.
On the Godfrey TV show. Oh, we did the Talent Scout show. We won that. That put us on the morning show. He had a morning show too, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And he had a Wednesday night show with the McGuire sisters, Pat Boone, blah, blah, blah. So after we did the 4 days on the whatchamacallit, Ted Lyons called me the following week, and he says, Arthur wants you on his Wednesday night show. 3 weeks from now.
That was big time.
Big time.
National exposure all
Yeah,
over the
CBS,
country.
coast to
Highest
coast.
rated show at the time. What was
Right.
this, about 1956?
56, yeah. So when we went there to do the show, they were rehearsing and everything. He was in a soundproof booth. He's, oh, okay, let me see that band now. He didn't even remember my name. So we got the band out now. They told us all our arrangements for the 4 days had to be 3 minutes. So we had to cut all our arrangements down. So I said to Ted Lyons, what do you think we ought to do on a Wednesday night show? He's, what are the 4 songs you did on them? So I told him what they were. And one of them, the one that he picked out was Shake, Rattle, and Roll, a Bill Haley tune. And our arrangement ran 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Well, we had to cut it down to 3. So on the Wednesday night show, the wheels were turning in my head already. He's, okay, let me see that band. I turned around to the guys in the band. I put my back to him. He was in a soundproof booth, never realizing that he had a microphone, boom mic over my head. He heard every word I said. And I didn't realize it till Ted Lyons told me later on. I says, let's do the whole arrangement. And the guy says, no, maybe it's too long. I says, it's better at 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's do the whole thing. If he wants it cut down, we'll cut it down. I said, what are you arguing with me for? I'm yelling at the guys. He's, come on, I don't have all day. I says, okay. So we did the 4 minutes and 10 seconds. He stay there. And he's talking. I didn't hear. He said, he opened his mic again. He says, can you show me something else? I think I'd like to use you twice. Now, in our nightclub act, when we worked as an act, our finale was when the Saints go marching in. And it ran, we had comedy, 4-part harmony, blah, blah, blah. Calisthenics we did in it, like, choreography. It was a finale.
A real showstopper.
A real show thing. But it ran 13 minutes.
Wow.
So I turned around to the guys. I said, let's do when the Saints go marching in. They says, what, you nuts? I says, listen, it's the best thing we do. And he wants to see another thing, and let's show him the best. What are you arguing me for? I'm yelling at the guys in the band. He says, come on, I don't have all day. I turned around. I said, listen, Uncle Artie. I started calling him Uncle Artie. I said, and that's why he liked me, because I didn't yes him to death, like, you know. So he says, I said, would you like to see some of our comedy? And he busted out laughing. He said, what the hell have you been doing, drama? Because we were a comedy band. I said, no, we do real comedy, I thought. So we did it, and after we got through, I turned around, I says, that's pretty good if you got a spare month on your show, because I knew it ran long. He said, wait a minute. And then he turned his mic on and goes, leave it just the way it is. So we did 17 minutes and 10 seconds on an hour show.
And that was a live TV show.
That was a live
Martha Godfrey.
TV show, boy.
What memories?
What memories.
A lot of memories.
Yeah.
Well,
that got us a lot of work.
you've done a lot of things, as I said in the
A
introduction.
lot of works.
You've been a band leader, a musician, a comedian, a singer. What have you enjoyed the most?
What have I enjoyed the most? Let's see now. I guess being in show business. I really enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed the nightclub for a while. But after a while, owning a nightclub is a pain in the neck. You know why?
It's a lot of responsibility.
You're everybody's mother.
Oh, yes.
People drink, they get drunk, and when the cop stops them, where were you drinking? Moulin Rouge. And then I'm responsible for them, you understand? So it was like the judge put a gavel down.
Andy wants to say
I
something.
was going to say what he likes the most is being on stage.
Yes.
Period.
You're a performer.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
That's
An
what he is.
entertainer.
Yeah.
I
He's the
can
guy
do
that put me
too.
back on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm 90 years old.
And
says,
he's enjoying it.
He says, you want to go down to the Senior Citizen Club and do a 10-minute speech? I said, yeah, okay. And what am I going to talk about? He says, anything. Pick something that you did in a book. You know, so I told him a story about how I shouldn't even be here because, shall we tell him the story about it's in the book?
Yeah.
Did you read the book?
Yes, I did.
Well, you must have read the part where I should have gotten killed when I was in the Navy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When they took me out of that plane, you know, I went to see my fiancée because they gave us 2 days off, you know, and I actually went to New York in 2 days. Can't do that. And when I got back, the guy said, where were you? I said, I went to New York. And they said, well, you're lucky. They mustered us, and they gave us 2 more days off. Now I was back a day early. But I had sent a wire back to the commanding officer saying that I was AWOL and I was on my way back. My father told me I better do that because he was in the Navy, World War II. In fact, he was in World War I, too, all right? He was just young enough, just old enough for World War I, just young enough for World War II. So I got on the plane. I had finished all my things. They were just putting a new squadron together. I didn't know any of the people in the crew because they were all new. There were 10 people. It was a PBY, 10 crewmen with the pilots and everything. And guy comes by in a scooter, motor scooter, and he says, Caramanti in there? And I says, yeah. He says, the CO wants to see you because he read the wire. I said, I got to go on a flight. He says, the CO wants to see you now. That means get off the plane. And I did. And the plane went down to Daytona Beach. They were doing a bank, and one of the pontoons caught the water. The plane turned over, hit the water, and exploded. And nobody survived. All 9 guys got
If you had been
killed.
on that plane, you
Had
wouldn't
he
be
not-
here today.
That's right.
So God has been good to you, Len Carrie.
He's been very good.
You've led a blessed life.
Right.
And you've enjoyed...
When I had the nightclub, I was held up twice at gunpoint. And the guy said, I'm going to shoot this guy, like, you know. And he fired a shot over my head, but he didn't shoot me, like, you know.
You are what we call a survivor.
I'm a survivor.
A survivor. And
Yeah.
so what is your philosophy on keeping so vital, healthy, and
Smile.
involved?
Smile.
That's your philosophy. Keep smiling.
Remember the song Smile?
Yes, there were
You'll
many.
find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. That's how I used to end all my shows at the nightclub, with that line.
And you're still going strong today at the age of 91?
At the age of 91.
Making public appearances, going on book tours with Andy.
Well, that's
and
what
appearing
Andy's
on-
taking care of all that stuff.
And appearing on the
He's
Steve
my
Show.
manager.
Yeah, he's very good. Well, Andy, I want to thank you so very,
you.
very much
Thank
for
you
coming
very
on
much.
the
We
show.
appreciate it, Steve.
I want to thank Bill Turner again for inviting both of you to be on the show.
buddy.
And Len, I want to congratulate you
Pleasure.
on
Nice
a
meeting you.
70-year show business
Right.
career.
And you're sure you're not one of the Ames brothers?
No,
huh?
I'm not.
You know the Ames brothers had a big hit in the 50s.
Yes, they did.
Rag Mop.
That's
remember
right,
it?
of course.
I said R-A-G, R-A-G-G,
Very
Rag
good.
Mop. We used to do it.
Very good.
We used to
very
do
good.
it, yeah.
Well, listen, we've had so much fun with you. We want to have you back again. We want to have you back
all right.
again.
How about tomorrow
several
night?
times. Definitely. And we want to have Andy back again. Let's hear it for Len Carrie and Andy Mealy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.